be patient and be ready.
There you go.
Be patient and be ready.
That's all you can do.
I don't want you to, they call your name and you ain't ready. Don't let that, we ain't built like that. Sanders, we ain't built like that. We always ready. We don't have to get ready.
There you go.
Always ready. And I want you to be patient. You don't force none that it may not be time. But I'm like, son, you gotta be ready. You gotta be ready when it's time. But when it's time, you're gonna know. I say, and it's coming up. You know, I got a prediction. I ain't telling nobody. I got a feeling when it's gonna go down. But it's gonna go down this year.
Right. It's gonna happen. All right.
Is this really how the NFL wants to showcase rising stars? Instead of celebrating fresh blood, the Browns look dead set on burying Shedeur Sanders in the shadows.
Yeah, but where did these guys come from that sit on these platforms and say, oh, you should have sat in behind and learned the game and been what they developed? When have the pros ever developed anybody?
Yeah, it don't happen very often.
And Bush didn't hold back. He clowned the whole narrative, calling it nothing but a cover-up excuse from a team too scared to roll the dice. He made it crystal clear. This ain't about patience or development, it's about choice. The Browns are choosing to keep Shedeur locked up on that bench, and that's the scandal that's got everybody heated. Fans and analysts ain't wrong for demanding answers. This silence stinks like something rotten. Why keep throwing out weak excuses when Sanders has already shown he's ready to step up? Why let the offense sink while your best weapon collects dust on the sideline? Then Dan Orlovsky lit the fuse even hotter. He didn't just question Stefanski, he blasted him point blank on live TV. Orlovsky demanded to know why Sanders is chained to the bench with zero chance to prove himself. If Kevin Stefanski really believes Sanders isn't ready, Orlovsky snapped, then he better show receipts, not vague press conference lines. And here's the wild twist. Shedeur already proved himself. In preseason, he showed poise, accuracy, and ice-cold nerves under pressure. Those highlights don't lie, and they wreck every excuse Stefanski's crew keeps recycling. Orlovsky dropped the hammer. The hiding needs to stop. It's time for Sanders to take the big stage and shut down the doubters once and for all. Prove to me you can't do it, Orlovsky demanded. Throwing a challenge Stefanski can't duck forever. But the heat didn't stop there. NFL legend Eric Dickerson stepped in, and his words cracked the whole debate wide open. Dickerson didn't hold back. He claimed Sanders isn't benched because of talent, but because of something way uglier, race. In a fiery interview, he dropped bombs, saying it's not just about white players versus black players. Nah, he insisted. It's about the system itself not wanting powerful black figures like Shedeur and Deion rising too high in the NFL spotlight.
By the time you get to the NFL, they expect you to know what you need to do and to do it, or somebody else go get in there and do it. Now, they teach you their playbook, but development and teaching you how to route folks up and you how to block and hold that point, man, please.
These weren't throwaway comments. They landed like alarms blaring. Dickerson painted it as more than football politics, calling it what it really is, racism at the core. According to him, the league wants to mute, minimize, and push back men like Shedeur and Deion, too talented, too loud, and too unapologetic for comfort. The noise got so wild the Browns had to finally respond. Bill Musgrave rushed out with damage control, saying Sanders and Dylan Gabriel are being developed behind the scenes, supposedly getting steady reps and coaching. He claimed the team is all in on Shedeur's growth, just waiting for the perfect time to unleash him. But fans weren't buying that fairy tale. They'd heard enough empty promises, and every week Shedeur sat while the offense crumbled. Frustration only got hotter. Musgrave's words sounded less like a plan and more like a cover-up, and people smelled it from a mile away. Meanwhile, Kevin Stefanski was running out of room to hide. Each bad performance turned whispers into roars. Stefanski's job might be on the chopping block if he didn't shake things up soon. The math was simple. Keep stumbling, lose the season, lose your job. But instead of betting on Shedeur, Stefanski doubled down on Joe Flacco, and the gamble bombed. Flacco looked flat, shaky, and nowhere near the spark Cleveland needed.
You got to figure it out on your own, man.
There you go.
I've been trying to teach some guys that have come in and out of the building or all across that I ask you, how do you run your route like this? How do you run your route like that? I'm like, man, you just got to run it enough to figure it out.
Right.
Like for me,
the only reason the Browns even survived, that monster defense. They locked down the Packers and dragged the team to a win when the offense kept stalling. Make no mistake, that W belonged to the defense, not Flacco. But the firestorm around Shedeur Sanders just keeps raging. Fans and analysts aren't just suggesting anymore, they're demanding his shot. The push for the Browns to release him has grown into a movement, with whispers that his trade value is sky high right now. Word around the league is Miami Dolphins are circling hard, ready to scoop Sanders if Cleveland keeps him hostage on the bench.
That wanted a new center. I was so lucky to get into a position where they were like, just don't fuck this up, Jason, and you can be the starter. Like, we want you to play. And that's like, if I would have went behind Kevin Mawai or, I'm trying to think of who the other centers were, the Alex Mack or some of these guys.
And Miami ain't alone. The Jets, Falcons, even the Raiders are reportedly asking about him, sensing Cleveland's meltdown could be their chance to grab a star. Here's the crazy part. Cleveland's front office is split. Some execs want to cash out while Sanders' stock is hot, while others fear the PR nightmare of trading him too soon. Imagine Sanders blowing up with another team while the Browns look like clowns for never giving him a real shot. That's the nightmare keeping Cleveland execs awake at night. And the tension is bleeding into the locker room. Fans chant Shedeur's name after every Flacco misfire, and sources say some players are quietly questioning why Sanders hasn't had a start yet, especially after watching his calm control in preseason. The pressure ain't just outside anymore, it's creeping inside the building. Meanwhile, the media is ruthless. Former players are calling the situation embarrassing, while social media is dragging Cleveland with hashtags demanding Sanders' freedom trending every game day. The Browns can't duck the heat forever. And then came the nuclear threat, whispers that Deion Sanders himself might step in. Insiders say Coach Prime's been holding back, but if he blasts the Browns for mishandling his son, it'll set off a storm Cleveland ain't ready for. At this point, it's bigger than football. It's about power, politics, and pride. Every day Sanders stays benched, the chance of a total implosion climbs higher. Eric Dickerson lit the match, and now the fire's blazing out of control. His raw claim that Shedeur's exile might be rooted in race has turned this whole mess from controversy into a potential scandal that could scar the NFL's image. Now the Browns are cornered, forced to make a decision that'll echo across the league. Do they keep playing it safe and hiding behind veterans, or finally unleash Sanders and risk shaking their whole system? The longer they stall, the louder the outrage gets, and one question keeps pounding louder. Is Shedeur Sanders being held back because of readiness or because of something way darker the league doesn't want to admit? The storm around Shedeur Sanders keeps getting louder, and the spotlight is now frying Kevin Stefanski. Every decision he makes feels like it's under a microscope, and the whispers inside Cleveland are turning into full-blown roars. Fans are chanting Shedeur's name every Sunday, and the tension inside that building is thick enough to cut with a knife. And here's the wild part. This ain't just fans venting frustration. Sources say even players in the locker room are starting to question what's really going on. They've watched Shedeur stay calm, sharp, and fearless in practice, and they're wondering why he's still chained to the bench while Joe Flacco stumbles through games. One source even said, "It don't make sense. He's ready, and everybody sees it." That's not just gossip. That's players losing trust in the system. The coaching staff, though, keeps hiding behind the same tired excuses. Bill Musgrave tried to put a positive spin on it, saying Sanders is developing behind the scenes, getting steady reps, and learning the ropes. But come on, nobody's buying that story anymore. Fans know what development looks like, and it sure ain't watching a young star rot on the sidelines while washed-up vets rack up L's. Meanwhile, Stefanski's seat is heating up fast. Insiders are saying plain and simple, if the Browns don't shake things up soon, Stefanski's job is in serious danger. Each week, Shedeur sits while the offense flops. The more it looks like Stefanski is protecting his own ego instead of building for the future. And the crazy part? The defense is carrying this entire squad. Week after week, they're the only reason Cleveland's even staying afloat. Without them, the season would already be cooked. Now here's where it gets even messier. Shedeur's name is buzzing outside Cleveland. Word around the league is Miami Dolphins, the Jets, and even the Falcons are circling like sharks, ready to pounce if the Browns slip up. Reporters say front offices are already sniffing around, asking about Sanders' status, and it's sparking real talk that Cleveland might be forced to trade him. Imagine the blowback if they ship him off before ever giving him a fair shot. If Sanders lights it up somewhere else, the Browns would be clowned for years. And that's the nightmare haunting the front office right now. They're split down the middle. Some want to cash out while his value is hot, while others are terrified of the backlash if he leaves and becomes a superstar. Either way, the pressure is boiling, and this saga is teetering on the edge of an explosion. Because here's the truth, this ain't just about football anymore. It's about politics, pride, and maybe even the darker forces Eric Dickerson called out. Every day Shedeur stays glued to that bench, the scandal grows bigger. and Cleveland is running out of time to stop it.